Sir, you can't be in the background.
Let's all go
I am the
lobby. Let's all go to the lobby.
Let's all go to the lobby and have ourselves a snack.
Yep.
75 degrees. Horrible. We're fucking real.
It's kind of cold in here, though.
I mean, when you get used to it, yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. We'll start in a second here. I'm gonna, like I said, we'll start with High Point. I'll introduce you. I'll introduce the organization a little bit, and then I'll let you go into some more about it because I don't even really know where it came from.
The High Point Rockers.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the owner of this club, he was the owner and started. I don't know if he started, but I know he was the owner for the Rockland Boulders, which is where our manager came from last year. Who we
I love that the
against.
only coach that they have the coach Frank Federer on Wikipedia. That's the Wikipedia page.
That's funny. Yeah, I get no love.
No.
But Jamie Keefe, who's the manager,
Mm-hmm.
he was managing in Rockland. That's when I was managing in Ottawa.
Okay.
And in 2016, we actually beat them
Mm-hmm.
in the Canadian League Championship, which is pretty cool.
We'll talk about that process. So, all right. So they're American.
You don't write this stuff down like notes?
No, I'll go back and look at my phone. It doesn't bother me any.
Should have brought the notebook though.
Carol.
Just saying.
All right, so you guys they were awarded a team shortly after
I
the
just did a YouTube search for Mike Bernier.
No.
These aren't Mike Bernier.
Fat
No.
Kid Certified Sports Entertainment.
Yeah.
Yes, this is what I do. In June we'll do the name the team. We'll talk about what you would have picked out of the ones that they.
I don't even know which one we're on there.
The Chairman, the Dragon Claws, the Hush Puppies, the Iron Dragons, the Iron Eagles, the Pioneers, the
Iron
Rockers,
Eagles.
and the Splinters.
I would have picked Iron Eagle
I'd have
because I was
picked-
a big Iron Eagle fan.
I would have picked the Hush Puppies because it's food.
Lou Gossett Jr. Well, yeah, it's food too. Yeah, we can go into that.
We're gonna go
talk
into that. We're gonna definitely hit that one.
because it's an 80s action movie.
Yeah,
That's-
for sure.
That's why.
All right, so all right, I guess we'll get this thing started. So we'll just FKC Sports Entertainment. Find it, subscribe, like, all that fun stuff. Do it. Do it.
Oh, that's one.
Do it.
Do it.
Do it.
Cardiac Cole.
Do it.
Do it.
All right, guys, welcome back to, I don't even know what chapter this is, episode, whatever you want to call it. I am here with the High Point Rockers bench coach and, what's that cool word that you use? Player development? Procurement.
Director of Player Procurement.
He's got to put the fancy title on. I'm here with Billy Horn. Wood, thanks for joining us.
Hey, happy to be here. Appreciate it.
So, the High Point Rockers are a independent team out of the Atlantic League.
Yes, sir.
Inaugural season. Billy joined the battlefront with the Rockers. What brought you, I guess to say, let's start this off with what brought you to High Point and what's going on with the Rockers?
Well, last year I was managing in the Frontier League. I was managing the normal Corn Belters. And, unfortunately the team had folded due to their own reasons and so forth. And I kind of knew that coming in. And, I figured I'd take that job just to get management experience and so forth. And, the year before I was in the Atlantic League with the Long Island Ducks as a pitching coach. So, if I was going to be back in independent baseball, I wanted to get back to the Atlantic League. And, fortunately I found a home with High Point. Their manager, Jamie Keefe, a friend of mine for a long time. We actually competed against each other when I was in Ottawa in the Canadian League. And, I had interviews with some major league organizations throughout the offseason, for managing, pitching coach, whatever. Nothing came to fruition. And, fortunately this did. So, we had a great first half. We're actually filming this in Boynton Beach in Florida on the All-Star break. So we were 41-29, 12 games over 500, if my math is right.
Sounds right.
Sounds about right. For the first half, the way that league does it is there's 2 divisions. We didn't win our division, so we're still grinding and trying to get into the playoffs. But I'm happy to be in High Point. It's a beautiful city, beautiful, brand new. It's like a $45-50 million ballpark. It's really cool, and got a bunch of former major league players, AAA guys. So it's been a fun time so far.
So how do you feel about basically the roster of High Point? I know you got a lot of those guys in North Carolina for this opportunity. Some guys that have come and gone, and by coming and going, I mean getting ready to go back to the show. Something that I think everybody on your roster is striving for. Some names that I know me and you have talked about. Seth Manus was there.
Yeah, Seth is in. He was with us. He started the season. He only got one start with us. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, see you later, bud.
Seth was with Kansas City and St. Louis. Got about 5 or 6 years in the big leagues. Great guy. We sold his contract was purchased by the Texas Rangers, so he's in AAA Nashville right now with the Texas Rangers. He's doing really well, and hopefully he'll be back in the big leagues sometime this year.
So I saw also on the roster former Tampa Bay Ray Richard Schaefer, Clemson kid. He's on your roster. Anybody else notable that you would like to, I guess, speak about?
Sure.
On your roster right now.
Sure. We had DBJ, we had Dante Bichette Jr. All you guys, well, you older guys, like me, would know his dad. Played for the Colorado Rockies back in the day, and his younger brother, Bo Bichette, is one of the highest touted prospects in the Toronto Blue Jays organization. So we had Dante was with us for about 45 games or so, and he was leading the league in hitting. He was hitting about 380, tearing the cover off the ball. So he know
Washington,
yeah, he's in Harrisburg right now in AA. Our starting catcher, Brett Austin, his contract got picked up by San Francisco. We had another guy signed, Quincy Lattimore. He went down to Mexico. He actually rejoined our club. They call him King Q out there in High Point. Hits a lot of dingers. Really good guy. But yeah, our roster's filled. Hector Gomez, another guy played in the big leagues for a couple of years. Stephen Cardulo, a local guy down here, who I actually competed against in the Can-Am League, which was pretty awesome. And to see him go to the big leagues, and that's why these guys are here. These guys are with us in order to get back to the big leagues, or for some of your younger guys or guys that have never made it to have a shot to crack a major league organization and fulfill their chances to get to the big leagues.
So the big thing here about the High Point Rockers that some of you out there on YouTube land will understand, and some of you won't. Billy being the bench coach, Billy is a primary pitching guy. He's been a pitching guy for his entire career. But the guy that's the pitching coach there may trump you.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about the High Point Rockers pitching coach, Frank Viola.
Well, if I'm going to speak in Frank, I'm going to have to talk like this with my New York accent because he's got a mustache and he's from Long Island. Frank Viola, for you younger folk that don't know anything about baseball or who have been sleeping in a closet or in mommy's basement,
living under a rock.
Frank's a great guy. Pitched in the big leagues for 16 years. Won a World Series MVP with the Twins. Won the Cy Young. He was coaching with the Mets organization the last 8 years. He was actually coaching with Wally Backman, good buddy of mine. He's actually the new manager of the Long Island Ducks now. But anyways, working with Frank is so awesome because Frank is just an old school guy, and he, for an older guy, he really relates well with the younger players, which is really cool. So, for me, I don't have to be out there sweating all day, watching all these bullpens, working on mechanics and all this other stuff. So, Frank's doing a great job. We love him. And it's just a lot of fun. It's so much fun. And for me to have an opportunity to learn from an old school guy like that, I mean, it's pretty awesome.
So I guess the aura or the origination of the High Point Rockers, they were the Bridgeport Bluefish.
So they were
is what I read.
Yeah, they were a team in the Atlantic League back in 2017 was their final season, and they had folded at the end of the 17 season. And then in 2018 in the Atlantic League, they had the Road Warriors. It was a traveling team. They were there for a year. Everybody knew it, so it basically gave the city of High Point or other cities that were competing for that spot, it gave them a little bit more time to get that spot and then build a stadium if necessary. And obviously we needed a stadium, and like I said, it's a beautiful, beautiful bar.
I've seen photos.
It's awesome.
Yeah,
it's pretty
So
cool.
On June 7th of 2018, the city of High Point held a name your team contest. Basically, I'm going to go over the names of the finalists. I'll tell you who I would have picked. Billy will tell you who he would have picked. We know that it ended up with the Rockers. But the 9 finalists were the chairman. No, not La Parka for you wrestling fans that are sitting here. The Dragon Claws, whatever that is. Dragon Tails, whatever. The Hush Puppies. The Iron Dragons. The Iron Eagles. The Pioneers. The Rockers. And the Splinters. Personally, because I'm fat, I would have taken the Hush Puppies because you can never have too many Hush Puppies. Trust me. I'm a guy that goes to Red Lobster for the cheddar biscuits. I would eat a lot of Hush Puppies. Second place, I would have probably taken the chairman, but my mascot would have definitely been a picture of La Parka because he's the chairman.
That's funny.
Who would you have gone with out of those those finalists.
Out of those finalists, I would have went with Iron Eagle only because I'm an 80s, 90s action buff, and Lou Gossett Jr., Iron Eagle, great movie. If you haven't seen it, check it out. Came out in 1983, I believe. A lot earlier than most of you people were born.
So, the thing with the Rockets moving forward, Billy said they finished, what was it, 12 games over 500?
12 over 500 in the first half, yeah.
Their situation is they're in a tough side of that division, of that league, because that left side, your guys' division, from what you were telling me earlier, is loaded. Sugarland was really good. Somerset was really good.
Yep.
Oh no, I'm sorry. Long Island and Somerset were really good in your division.
Yep.
Sugarland barely held on to a 500 record and won the other division.
Yeah.
What we were talking about. So now you kind of explained to me a little bit in the car beforehand how this would work. You guys can still technically finish with the best record in the league and miss the playoffs. Can you kind of go into detail a little bit about that?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, it happened in 2017 with Bridgeport and Lancaster. They both won, I think, 85 or 87 games, but since they did not win their respective division, nor did they earn a wild card berth, as wild as that sounds, they didn't make the playoffs. So basically, in the two divisions, if one team wins their division, like for instance, Sugarland won their division. So let's say if York wins that division, in the second half,
the two of them are going to go.
They're in. Long Island already won our division. Now let's just say Somerset or New Britain, who you got that new hat.
Yep.
Compliments to my brother Craig. Great job, Skeet. Appreciate you. If one of those two teams happens to win the second half, but let's just say, Long Island and whoever wins goes.
So there's no real shot at a wild card. So what happens in the thought process of, say, Sugarland wins the second half there? Do they take the best record of the other teams in that division, or is there like a crossover?
Overall. So now that's what we're hoping for.
You could have both teams win the second halves, and then you and potentially Somerset could get it as 2 wild cards.
That's correct. So we're actually hoping, we're pulling for Sugarland now. So if Sugarland wins, that
opens a spot where you guys have a more legitimate chance of getting it.
Correct. And right now we have a big heads up. We got about a 20-game lead over Lancaster and Southern America.
Okay.
I think they're 22 and whatever, and we're 40.
Yeah. So you got yourself some lead there.
Yeah.
So in the Atlantic League, I want to talk about this. In the middle of July, they announced that they were going to do some different things that them and Major League Baseball have come to agreement on. Some of them, me and Billy see eye to eye on, and I think these are atrocious ideas. Other ones, yeah, I do. Don't take that on, Billy.
No comment.
Yeah. So the one that I guess confused me the most, and you explained it to me a little bit, so I can understand it. A batter can steal first base at any point. Yes, this sounds absolutely ridiculous. This is not baseball. But now it's new age baseball because, off the record and off the camera, we said everyone wants to see more runs because more runs means more people in the stands because it's less downtime. So now I guess the rule is at any point that the ball gets away from the catcher, the batter can just take off? Yeah,
that's correct. So for those of you that don't know, Major League Baseball and the Atlantic League formed a partnership in the off season. And what's happening now is a couple of things. The main thing is it's really recognizing the Atlantic League as the premier league of independent baseball, which, if you look at the numbers over the last 10, 15 years, the most guys do get picked up out of the Atlantic League. Now that has nothing to say negative about the Frontier League, where I've managed, which is a younger league, Can-Am League, where I've coached, and also the American Association. They all move players, but for the most part, and especially due to roster rules, like the Frontier League, it's younger players, you have to have a certain number of rookies. In the Atlantic League, there's no
real set.
So you can sign whoever you want. So, traditionally over the years, the Atlantic League has had
higher turnover.
And many, big name guys: Jose Canseco, Ozzie Canseco, Eric Gagne, David Ardsma. I mean, the list goes on and on.
My guy, Santiago Chirino.
That's my boy. But anyways, back to your question. I'm sorry. So basically, with this partnership, Major League Baseball can implement, I think, 20-something rules throughout the 3-year agreement. Correct. So we've started off with some in the first half. Now in the second half, here's the deal. So could be the first pitch of the game. Pitcher comes, gets the sign. If he throws a ball past the catcher, the batter does have the option to then take first base if he so chooses to. Now, to my understanding, if the runner decides to take off, whether he is safe or out, it counts as an 0 for 1 against their batting average. And I believe the scoring is a fielder's choice.
Okay.
So in independent baseball, the first thing a lot of organizations look at is batting average. So a lot of guys aren't going to want to take that offer against their batting average.
Absolutely.
However, late in the game, you got a fast runner, you need a guy on base, ball gets away, hey,
Take one for the team.
you might take, exactly. It depends on the player and so forth and so on. So, yeah, like you said, it's new age baseball, new rules. So that's one of the things that's we're going to see how it goes and see what Major League Baseball thinks at the end of the year.
Yeah. Another rule here: one foul bunt is permitted with 2 strikes before a out. Anyone that knows me, I am an expert bunter in my men's league. I'm really good at it.
Is this baseball or softball?
Oh, baseball.
Okay.
I wouldn't bunt in softball. So, I mean, I'm fat, but I'm not that ridiculous.
Gotcha.
No, but I'm a really good bunter. But I see where people can fail in bunting because it doesn't get asked of them to do it a lot in the majors anymore. It's a lot of guys 1 through 9 are trying to hit it 800 feet. Ball, launch angle, velos, all that stuff.
Yep.
I know I'm speaking like Russian to everybody at home right now that's watching this, but it just seems like that's something where it almost would help in like the National League of Major League Baseball with the pitchers in that aspect. What are your thoughts on the 1 foul attempt? I know it could lead to a problem, especially for some of your guys being a pitching guy and a pitching guru and stuff like that, where it could be, you could run into that extra pitches because now you got to throw another pitch to get this guy out.
Yeah, I mean, you get 4 chances to get a bunt down. I mean, if you can't get it down in 2,
maybe we shouldn't be bunting.
Maybe we shouldn't be bunting, but I mean, for all the people that know me out there, I'm not a very big bunter. Listen, my 8-9 hitter, if you're not hitting very well to set it up for the top of the order late in the game, great. I got no problem with a sacrifice bunt, in that situation. But the thing is, okay, you're going to try and attempt a bunt with 2 strikes. All of a sudden, it's foul. Now you get another attempt. There's no rule that says you have to bunt. You can now swing away. So, based on what they're trying to do, they're trying to get it the creativity level up where, okay, well, there's more offense, and that's exactly what we've been talking about. You want to shorten the game, but now you're creating more offense. So I think Major League Baseball is starting to see that maybe shortening the game isn't the best idea, but getting the most
time with more action,
rather
than
right.
Pitchers are required to step off the rubber to throw over. As a left-handed guy who sometimes parades to the mound in my fatness like a left-handed version of Bartolo Colon, I don't ever step off to throw over. So it's going to be one of those really weird things if that gets really implemented in the majors and the rules change throughout all of baseballs in general. That stepping off is the deception of a lefty is always been something that has been a plus to being a lefty. Now the deception is completely gone because you can't sit there and hold, you can't do anything. Like we were talking, means lefties are going to go more to a slide step, and potentially now go to a lower arm angle, potentially not have the same motion, and potentially hurt themselves in that aspect. Again, as a pitching guy, how do you feel about the stepping off?
For me, I mean, I've always been a big believer in controlling the running game is very, very important. As long as you can continue to mix in your timing and your holds and things like that, that's good to control the running game. You still need to be able to throw guys out. Mm-hmm. So I think it's going to be a little bit different. It's going to be different for obviously the pitchers because they're just learning about this now. So and especially for a base runner, it's awesome against a lefty because it's that chess match. Mm-hmm. It's like, is he going to when you go first move, you're gone.
Yeah.
So now he doesn't have the option to throw over. So you're going to see a lot more quick moves. Step. I don't think guys are really going to throw. You're not going to throw anybody out, that way. So
just step off to keep them close, kind of thing.
Yeah, I think it's just going to be a little bit different now. Mm-hmm. But if Major League Baseball is going to implement it, they're going to use our league, to experiment with it. So we'll see what happens.
Absolutely. Some other things that they went about adding at the beginning of the year: the home plate umpire assisted by radar tracking. Mm-hmm. That is the robotic strike zone. Frank had a run-in with the computerized situation last night?
Last night, yeah.
He got tossed for the umpire, I guess, not knowing that it wasn't working, and then strike zone got a little tight. Frank didn't agree, and we'll leave it as that because we don't want anyone getting fined, so we're just going to move on from that one. No mound visits. That's something that's a real big head scratcher to me, especially like a pinch hitter comes in, you may not be able to set for that guy before you go out there.
I know league wide, I guess it's kind of been the main It's been the main change that everyone's kind of seemed to have a little bit of an issue with.
Kickback.
Yeah, only because like you really need that, and you don't even have to go out there and talk baseball strategy. All you need to do is just go out there and give the guy a second. So obviously we've become very innovative. So you will see, if you watch a lot of Atlantic League games, you will see our shortstop, Giovanni Alfonso, will tie his shoes at least twice a game. So he doesn't have the worst shoelaces in the game. He's just, you know, when there's runners on base, you'll see our catchers will come out and they'll go, hey, defense. They'll do dummy signs just to give the guy a second. You know, you've seen some managers actually bring a trainer out to make sure the guy is okay. So guys are getting innovative. You'll see when a guy's warming up in a bullpen, he'll just chuck one all the way down.
So that someone's got to go pick.
Someone's got, hey,
time.
We got to run and get the ball.
Yeah.
So, but I really feel like, you know, giving that pitcher that 5 seconds, 10 seconds is really important. So, you know, we'll see. You know, when I was in the Atlantic League 2 years ago, we had a three mound visit rule, and we didn't get to 3 mound visits very often.
Yeah.
Sometimes we did, you know, but you know, it is what it is. Like I said, it's another rule that the Atlantic League, you know, is trying to work with Major League Baseball. So, you know, I don't know if that'll pass, you know, but we'll see.
We also went from 15-inch squares to 18-inch squares, bigger bases.
Actually, we went from 15-inch bases to pizza boxes.
Oh, nice.
That's what they look like.
Nice.
They look like pizza boxes.
I mean, that might help player safety, I guess. I think that's really where they're going with that one.
It does. That's the one thing I do like about the bigger bases is it is safer, you know, because instead
First
of
baseman's got a little bit more room to get to. The runner's got some avoid the collision.
Yeah.
So that's definitely good. And then time between innings or pitching changes went from 2 minutes and 5 seconds to 1 minute 45. So again, like we were talking, it's the speed up to try to get more going so the fans stick around more. Shorter game, higher impact. I kind of feel like it's almost like arena football. Like we're going to try to score 700 points. We're just going to turn the scoreboard off, go.
Well, you've already seen that in the first half of not only AAA but in the big leagues, they're already at a record pace for home runs. So there already is action. You know, there's more action actually. So you know, the fact that the mounds didn't get moved from 60, you know, back to 62 feet, 62 and a half actually is probably a good thing, you know, but obviously then you have the, you know, analytical people who say, well, it kind of favors the pitcher because you get more break, more bite, more depth, you know, on your off-speed stuff, but, you know, we'll see. All right.
So, breaking news here on Fat Kid Certified Sports Entertainment. Andrew Cashner to the Boston Red Sox for 2 minor league prospects. Noel Berth, Romero, and Elio Prado. I don't know anything about either one of those guys. Cashner will probably fill in the role that would have been Nathan Eovaldi, who's going to go to the bullpen for the Red Sox. Super excited about when Eovaldi comes back. Other than that, Billy, I appreciate you taking some time to talk about the Rockers. And keep an eye out. We're going to talk to him some more about the grind of independent baseball and meet a prospect. But you're going to have to tune into a later episode for that. So for Fat Kid Certified Sports Entertainment, I am Mike. This is Billy Horn. Appreciate you guys watching.
Peace.